How's it going, YouTube? So today I have the new Shimano TranX. This is the 401 HG power handle crank, 7:6:1 gear ratio. Got that paired on my Dobyns. This is on the Fury season, but 806. Got an ABT suicide glide on here, 30-pound Trilene Big Game. I'm going to take this out here in a few moments to the lake. I'm going to do a first impressions kind of product review over this. Not unboxing because it's already out of the box, spooled up everything. But I want you guys to see how it performs, casting, reeling, dealing with big baits. I've got my entire tackle box coming with me with all the good swim baits. So stay tuned. It's going to be a good day. Welcome, guys. I'm over here at Red Mountain today doing a product testing, product review on the Shimano 401 TranX HG. So this is the power crank handle. I've got it, said it earlier, 30-pound Big Game, spooled up. I'm testing out with the ABT 9-inch Suicide Glide. So this bait is, I believe, about 6 ounces. The rod is going to be the Dobyns Fury Series 806. Absolutely love the 806. It proved to be a wonderful asset at the Colorado River. Enough cranking power, or enough backbone I should say, really pulling a good fish, held really nice fish. Even some of the 2s and 3s that I caught were no problem with it whatsoever. But today's highlight is going to be the reel. So I'm going to put the chesty on here in a moment. I'm going to do talk about it, my first impressions, how I'm feeling, what I like about the reel, the power crank. Now, I got the power crank specifically in the 400 series just to have a more powerful reel. My buddy Ken, he's the Desert Swim Baiting on Instagram, told me should invest in this reel, and we're going to see how this investment rolls off. So first off, first impressions, that I really do love the reel. I know it's going to be hard to see, but you've got a beautiful kind of navy blue onto the silver for the reel. Looks really nice. I think it looks really nice. Like I said, the camera doesn't really show that too well. Fits in your hand fairly nicely. And I got big hands, and this fits comfortably in my hand without, I mean, there's going to be a few issues with it, but I'm just going to have to get used to it. My only thing is I got to try the power crank because I've never had a power handle before, so I'm just going to have to get used to how that feels. Other than that, this is, I believe it's 22 pounds of drag. Like I said, this isn't going to be a full product review, unboxing everything. For the rest of how normal Shimano reels work and everything, there's all sorts of other videos that you can check up. That's not what this video is. I just want to take it out and show you guys. Fish it, cast it, see how far it's casting, the breaks, the lure weight, different retrieves, how it works because the ABTs have some really good gliding action to them. And I want to see if the power crank, this is a 7:6:1 reel. I want to see if it's too fast. I want to see if it's perfect. So, also starting off here, Shimano has the side plate here, the side catch that comes off. It is very well connected to the spool, so be careful when you do that you don't rip the spool out. But you've got the traditional Shimano brakes in there. At the moment, I've only got 2 brakes enabled, because that's normally how I fish, and the aerators are kicking on. Normally for me, I'm going for max cast, so I enjoy having as little brakes on as possible. So that's for the tension knob, that's for the side plate brakes, that's for everything as little as possible to get the farthest cast available for me. Because especially for Arizona, I know other places it's true too, but other places you need a far, especially for a big bait, you need a far cast to make sure you can get anything, or to work the bait efficiently. So Like I said, I have 2 brakes on right now. I'm going to see if I need to turn on another brake. It came with 3 enabled in the triangular position. The top and the 2 corner ones on the bottom were turned on. Their counterparts were turned off. Where do I have the tension knob? Tension knob's pretty loose. Like I said, I usually keep it pretty loose. So the fall rate for this is quite quick. I'll go ahead and, when I put the chesty on, I'll go ahead and show you. Other first impressions for this, also guys, this is my first Shimano reel ever. I've never bought a Shimano before, never a Shimano spin cast, spinning, no Shimano bait casters. I've used them. I like the old Corrados, I like the old Chronarchs, but I never bought one for my own personal use. So this being my first Shimano, there's also, okay, how is this going to hold up to the Daiwas that I have? How is this going to hold up to the Abus that I've got? Considering this is a completely different reel altogether, I think it's going to be amazing. I mean, they even had to redo the housing for the gears on this because that's just how beast this crank is. I think it's about all I can say for this right now. I mean, really pretty reel, fits well in my hand. 400 size for the 30-pound test that I have. Larger lures. Next time I go to the Colorado, this is the reel that I'm going to be using just to help keep that extra pressure on the fish. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to start casting. Alright, I've already done a couple casts just to make sure I know what I'm doing. I'm glad I did because I backlashed like an absolute noob. What are you doing, phone? Yeah, I backlashed like an absolute noob on the first cast. Didn't even make it very far. Second cast wasn't much better. Not as bad as yeah. So I'm still getting it worked out. So first impressions, just by seeing the retrieve and everything for this, I think it's a little fast for some glide baits. Like for the ABT here, it's fine when I do the, you know, the reel stop to get it to do the side-to-side glide. That's not a problem. I don't know, the water clarity is not too good today. I was gonna say I might put on a more visible bait, but I'm not sure that's gonna make too much of a difference. Anyways, the bait looks really good on the reel stops. Doesn't look too good on a straight retrieve. It has a tendency to nose up. Unless I keep the rod tip down, it starts swimming more affectionately. Usually when I fish glides, I'm using like a 7-1 or something of equal. And you are actually a fairly fast sink. So, like I was saying, usually with glides I'm using a little bit slower gear ratio. But this, for the reel stop, just to get it to glide, is really nice. For a consistent retrieve, probably something a little bit slower. And I say that for like the ABT here. S-Wavers have a, you know, it's a wide, but you do need to kind of have a slower paced reel to get a good glide out of that. And even S-Wavers, it's hard to get them to glide on a pause because they usually end up nosing down, or they'll do some stupid thing, or they'll nose up too hard. But the power crank, I'm absolutely loving this. And I do believe for like the Colorado River, a little bit faster water, larger fish, I don't think this is going to be too much of a difference. For other baits, you know, this is a fast retrieve reel, so I'm pretty sure any of your top waters are going to be absolutely fine. Casting this is really easy. I love the cast of it. I don't hear any bearings. I don't hear it, you know. Oh, what are you doing? You know, I don't hear any of those weird noises. That clutch for the reel release, I like that. I like how sturdy everything sounds and everything feels. I really do like that feature about some of the Shimanos that I've had in the past that I've used, that they're just strong, they're sturdy. I do really like that feature for them. The line for this, like I said multiple times, is 30-pound test, 30-pound big game, and that is supporting it no problem. And I've got quite a bit of line on here, and it's holding it up just fine. But at the same rate, you know, this is a big reel. This is made for larger lines, saltwater applications. I do believe that that all the TranXs are saltwater ready. I may be wrong on that, but I know that the 400 and the 300 are saltwater ready. For the lubrications that they use, the greases help just keep the saltwater corrosion out a little bit longer. Now, just from using the glides, especially the Suicide Glide in the past, I have found that this bait does look good on a steady retrieve, as it does that on me. So I know the Suicide Glides swim really well. And yeah, that's doing good. So this is doing fantastic. Casting is good. Like I said, I want to get the rest of the brakes set up efficiently so I can get those good long casts that I like. Nope. Slight backlash. Carp are jumping. Should have brought my carp rod. So that still is a far cast. That's a decent, good cast for me. I know my Lexa 300 was able to do that, if not maybe a little bit farther. But also I had that reel for longer and I had it fine-tuned more efficiently. And I had it set for basically kind of like a universal. I could do any bait, any like 3 to 6 ounce bait, and I would get the most out of the cast without it backlashing too much. Lexas were also known for being the champions of throwing lightweight lures as well. I don't know how well that shows up, and the bait just might have a defect to it too, because I haven't used it since the Colorado River, and it kind of got beat up a bit on the Colorado. Casting, really smooth. Power handle, absolutely love it. I feel like I have a lot of cranking power. I feel like I have a lot of control over this. And even though, you know, you don't really do this with glides, picks up line really quickly. I like that. For this glide, I think it's just a little bit too quick. But still casts well. Casts well, picks up line, so at least you know if you hit a fish, you get 1, 2 handle cranks in, and you're pretty much set. I think just even simply reeling into the fish, you know, if you don't really have large fish, just reeling into it is probably going to be enough to set the hook. But I am absolutely loving this reel. I'm loving it. I'm loving everything it's doing. But I also wouldn't mind having a 7.1 of this, or 7.3. Something a little bit slower. just for a little more, with the glides, just having a little bit more controlled. And that's why I also say, like, for the S-Waver, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a little bit different. It's probably going to be a little rough on the S-Waver, because it does pull in so quick. In the S-Waver, you do need a little bit more time for it to glide and to move. Yeah, I think the bait's also messed up too, because it wasn't swimming bad beforehand. Paint jobs on these aren't too well. I kind of have the paint and the resins fall off a little quicker than I would like. But there's a time and a place for all the lures. The ABTs, I normally found them to be most efficient on the jerk stops, on the real pause, because the fish were more inclined to follow, if not commit, on that really wide glide, because I can get this thing to go about 4 foot from one side to the other. And this reel definitely holds up to it. Casting for this is still, oh man, come on, why is a pantyhose in the water? Every time I go fishing, I catch someone's underwear. Always catch some sort of underwear when I go fishing. And I don't just have glides today. I've got some S-Wavers. I brought those up because those are popular, they're inexpensive, they're easy for people to get. So most likely you're either looking to get one or you already have one. And if you're looking at this reel, you know, I want you to have a good idea of what you're looking into. But I gotta say, the casting on this is good. This isn't a DC reel, so of course it's not gonna have the digital control brakes. So it still is all just on the braking system and your thumb. But aside from a little bit of backlash here and there, I'm in love with this reel. And how fast is it actually? Oh my God. Yep, that's why this is a heavily used reel in saltwater, because that is immensely fast. Actually looks really good as a fleeing trout. Now, some of you from the past, I know from the power handle crank on the Lexas, had an issue of when you cast the reel, when you cast the lure, you have a tendency for the crank to re-engage mid-cast or at the very beginning of the cast. I've had some of my Lexas do that, even as just your standard double handle. My 4.9 does it from time to time, my 6.3 does it from time to time, my 300 did that as well from time to time. So as it is now, it's not doing it, but that's also cool. Disengage the reel and it still stays locked. Nice. Oh, why did I make the cast there? There's a aerator line out there that I had to go swimming for last time to get this back. I am an idiot. So definitely, as a substitute replacement for a 300, Lexa 300, or something of similar value, I would definitely look into this. And maybe not a power handle either. Like I said, I got the power handle because an application I actually will use it for big baits at Canyon Saguaro this winter, stripers on the Colorado River, because they'll definitely need something like this. But this, yeah, this would be nice to have, you know, throw along a bank. And then, yeah. So for any of your wide glides, even like a Depths 250, I would maybe say this might be a bit quick for that. Bait Sanity as well, it might be just a little bit quick. I might stick with a 7.1, or I would recommend sticking with a 7.1 for that. Or a 7.1, 7.3, 6.8, something in that high gear ratio, but not, you know, you're blazing fast. Just so that way when you do a steady retrieve, you get a good action out of it. Oh, my union. Oh my God. Oh my God. That bass is the same size as the lure. What the? Oh my God. What's in your mouth? Or are you beat up? I think he's beat up. Actually, why am I even over here? If I'm gonna attempt to catch a fish, I should go to the other side. By the way, guys, FYI, Game and Fish has dumped in gizzard shad into Red Mountain. I thought it was threadfin at first, but they do not look like threadfin. They are much wider, they're broader, they're taller. You know, they're not the skinny little profiles. They're thick, chunky things. They have a very thin fin coming off the top as well. But I thought they were threadfin. Nope, they are. Did I even bring my pliers? They are gizzards. So if you have any of your big patterns for out here, I would think like the Citizen or something of equal size would probably work really well. All right, the bait that I was really, come on. Wow, come on. That triple trout will grab every lure in the tackle box except for the fish that I'm trying to catch. All right. And also, I've been asked before what knot that I tie on these. I think it's a double uni, but how I was told, it was called the G loop. But I've never had this knot fail me. Of course, go ahead and just do your favorite knot. But I've never had an issue with this, even having multiple tag ends. I've never had it slip, I've never had it fail. So definitely a very strong, solid knot. I also use the San Diego Jam. Okay, S-Waver. Much more efficient to cast, of course. I want to actually see that. Okay. Not what I was expecting. I was expecting the total opposite. I was expecting this to not work efficiently. Then again, an S-Waver, I feel an S-Waver works more efficiently just on a straight retrieve than the jerks and pauses and everything. If you have a follower, by all means, do whatever you need to. But most of my S-Waver fish have come off of straight retrieves. Just helpful tip for that. I think that little guy's still around here. So going from a 6 ounce to a 3 ounce bait. Ooh, that's making that glide really nicely, really nice. Okay, cool. If you're gonna get an S-Waver 200, definitely get a light trout, because that seems to be my most productive color around the country. But in Arizona, it works out really well too. Stripers, largemouth. I have some smallies follow this at Apache, well, before the fish kill. But that is, you know, I had to slow it down a little bit. Slow it down. This does seem to work on a little bit quicker retrieve, because it still has that nice action to it. It's not favoring one side or another, which is good. That also means the bait is tuned really nice. Yeah, I like this more than the ABT. So the ABT, I would consider that more with a little bit slower gear ratio reel, not a round reel still. I would still go with like a low profile, but something with a higher gear ratio of 6.8 to maybe 7.3. 7.3 might be pushing it. I actually really like that. And on a steady retrieve as well. You know, and I'm going moderate, slow, moderate. And it's moving just fine. Also, I haven't done any modifications to my S-Wavers. I'm probably going to be doing that to this one here shortly. But casting on this is good. Let's see how far I can actually long bomb this. And not on the aerator line. Oh Jesus, I'm going to hit the island. Oh my God. That island's a good, I don't know, 75 yards away, 60 yards away, something like that. Yeah, it's at least 200 feet, and that did it no problem. Cast on that was amazing. I think that was a carp. I know there are some little bass around here. And really nice, good glide. And what I'd also like to do later on, once swim bait season starts coming around a little bit more, especially glide baits, is I want to do, you know, I'm not going to be the first one into the game for the glide baits, but I do want to talk about how I fish glides, how I get my follows, how I get my fish. Because the glide bait is one of those things I don't like talking about. Even now that the glide bait craze has kind of moved on. But I still want to do a video discussing how I fish it, how I work it, especially like an S-Waver, because an S-Waver is a lot more affordable than a Bait Sanity, an ABT, a slide swimmer, much more affordable than any Roman made, and especially since, you know, Tackle Warehouse gets like 5 in every color, and they're gone within 5 minutes. So, final thoughts on this. I'm gonna wrap blah blah blah. I've been talking too much. I'm gonna wrap up the video here. Final thoughts in conclusion. At least with the glides, I really like the S-Waver for this on a straight retrieve and on the reel stop. It picks up line perfectly. I can still control the bait, but it still allows it to glide. Still allows that movement to it, especially for a glide bait. That's how you get fish, is when the lure is performing at its peak, especially for a glide bait. Because ooh, there was a tick, probably just a little bass. Oh, that got my heart racing. But guys, this is the 401 HG Shimano TranX, however it's pronounced. I may start replacing all of my reels with this. Oh my God. That throws amazing. Effortlessly too. I'm not even chucking that as hard as I could to get maximum distance. That's just tossing it. Wow. Very impressed with this reel. Guys, thank you for sticking around this long. I do appreciate it. I also apologize for, I'm just starting to do videos. I'm just starting to get everything together. So any sort of constructive criticism, thoughts, I do want to try to make reasonably long videos, reasonably short. But I just always feel like there's so much to talk about. And there's just not enough time in a video to get all of that out. So I want to start doing series. I want to do some fly series. I want to do some swim bait series, glide baits. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not an expert. I'm not like Manny Chi. I don't guide out here. I'm working on my guide's license, but I don't come out to the lakes and guide people specifically. I'll take friends and family out and kind of teach them how to do it, but I'm not specifically guiding. With that said as well, if you would like to fish with me, go ahead and shoot me a DM on my Instagram, which is AZ Urban Fishing. I'll be more than happy to talk to you. We'll figure something out. A lot of times it's easier for me to fish urban lakes just because of my schedule. But definitely if I have a day off like today, I will utilize going to Canyon or Saguaro, maybe even Rosie. But Rosie's not really a swim bait lake. Or at least to me, I do better at Rosie on plastics than I do swim baits. But definitely if you've just got a few hours, more than happy to fish with you. Fly fishing, swim baits, whatever. I will do another video here soon about not just using the glide baits, but as you saw in my box, I've got a BBZ, a floating BBZ one, and I've got a triple trout. I do have a punker as well, so I would like to see how those work. BBZ usually takes a little bit slower retrieve, so that would be something like I'd do a Cardiff or a Calcutta, something like that, just a little bit slower gear ratio in the 5 to 6 range. You could just move it slower, it swims more efficiently. But anyways, this was $300 well worth it. So you want the reel, guys? It is on Tackle Warehouse. I think there's a few of these left in stock in the left-hand power crank. I don't recommend the power crank to everyone. Like I said, for me, I have an application that I can actually use the power crank. Other than that, I would stick with your 300, 400, or the 301, 401. I think the other ones are like a 5.8 and the 7.6, which this is, but tacklewarehouse.com is where I got this one. Shipping came within, I ordered it Friday and got it Monday. Today's Thursday, yep. So it still is valid for the week. All right, guys, I've got an hour or so to kill before my date, so I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much for sticking around. This is the review, first thoughts, casting, just my kind of talking spiel about the reel. Questions, comments, concerns in the description. I'm going to try to have most of what I've used as well as some other tidbits anything else I didn't cover, if you want to ask a question or something else, leave it in the comments. I will look at it. I will answer back to you. If you want to hit me up on Instagram, I will leave my Instagram tag in the description as well. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a safe and wonderful day, evening, wherever you're watching this. And tight lines, go catch a monster.